I've asked to be joined first up today by a man who is a man's man, but he is a ladies' man. He is an editor-at-large. He's a largesse editor. Harry Cole, good afternoon, sir.
Hello, Jeremy Carl.
We feel slightly unnumbered. What's the word? Under
the weather? Are you hungover?
Underrepresented. There you go. Well done, Jodie. How are you, my friend?
I'm all right. I'm all right.
I wanted to. Can we get the thing up, please, from the Sun? Can we get the news the front page? Honestly, we started.
What a scoop.
Well, so John was here, the night editor last night. John Lucas, although he says he's not the night editor.
DCI Lucas.
DCI Lucas. He does look like he's come out of Sunhill, doesn't he? Always coming right, Joe. Yeah. Well, I can't tell you too much. Well, you're here to promote it. What do you mean you can't tell me too much?
He's a great man.
Well, don't go on air till 10. But anyway, the front page of the Sun today, taking us for a ride. I know Ian's been talking about this. I mean, small boat migrants getting illegally £1,000 a week, probably in cash, delivery driver jobs within hours of landing in the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
I mean, that story about how migrant hotels have bikes piled up outside being charged.
Racks of them, bike racks, and it's not. It won't just be delivery drivers. It will be, a bit of carpentry, be a bit of cleaning, lots of cleaners. I mean, you can look out this window where we are in London. You can look across to the city, and you can see the headquarters of some of these sandwich delivery firms that have basically taken over and become massive delivery firms, and they are being propped up by illegal labour.
So why aren't the companies being prosecuted?
That's a question for the Home Office. It's a question for the government, isn't it?
The Home Office will take about 6 years to look at it.
If I was the Home Office, I would have read the front page of the Sun this morning. I would have been down there at 6:30 this morning doing raids.
But we all know with the Home Office that doesn't happen. Apparently, rightly so, that if you are banned, migrants and hotels are banned from working under any circumstance if they have been in Britain for less than 12 months. Now, the Sun's investigation found dozens of online forums renting Deliveroo and Just Eat accounts for 40 quid a week.
Exactly. So, they get one badge, they get one uniform, they get one bike, they get one bag, and they just share it around, they just work around the clock. No wonder it's so, does it surprise you why these delivery services are so cheap and affordable? Is because they're using illegal labour. This is exactly what the French say, is we'll help you stop the boats, but you're drawing people to your black market in this country.
Absolutely.
It's very easy to work in this country illegally, in cash, no ID cards. How many of them are checking passports and national insurance numbers before they're paying? Of course they're not. It's an envelope round the back of the hotel.
And then for people who are trying to get a job and doing it the right way, they're struggling, they're getting nothing. An undercover, I mean, I thought it was a brilliant piece of journalism, and I'm just saying that, big fan, of course, of the Sun. An undercover Sun reporter posing as a small boat arrival from Afghanistan was offered an account by one of these companies within 10 minutes.
Yeah, of course he was. I mean, it's one of those ones that I think this is just the tip of the iceberg. If this is happening in one hotel, it's going to be happening at them all. And this is the pull effect. This is the lure. This is why people don't want to work in France. Don't want to stay in France because it's actually quite hard to work illegally in France. You have to have an ID card in order to get paid. They have a much harsher regime where they punish employers for illegal work. We need to get real about this. The black economy in this country is a joke, and you can see it everywhere. How many times you drive down the Old Kent Road, or drive down your high street, or drive down anywhere, you see your barber shops, you see your car washes. Why are they able to do a car wash and inside-outside valet of a car for 14 quid? Because that's illegal work.
14? I've been done again. If you got an opinion on this story, front page of the Sun, great piece of journalism. 0344 499 1000. Ring right now. Text 87222. Start your message with the word talk. You say about the Home Office being down there. Absolutely, that's great optics, and I would say great politics. But that's not going to happen because every single person in the history of the world says, "Oh, the Home Office isn't fit for purpose." To me, when you talk about politicians, and you're the man politically, but to me, I'd wake up in Downing Street this morning. I'd found out about this last night. That's a perfect political move. To raid those places, as you said, at 6 o'clock this morning. Except for the
fact the government don't have the capacity. Secretly, they know that if they raided every single one of these, they'd have to arrest so many of them, and then because there's no capacity in our prisons.
Yeah, but hold on, I'm going to have an argument with you now. How come there was capacity for enough I say militia, police, enough judges and enough cells after the apparent far-right thug
exactly.
Right. And we're not saying that all of those people were far right.
But then look what they did 6 weeks later. They let out a load of hardened, violent criminals because the capacity of our prisons are. We are a country literally creaking at the seams. We are unable and impotent to stop this, frankly, armada arriving day by day. There's nowhere to put them other than these hotels. The capacity of our social housing is already full and rightly being used to prioritise British people.
But is it? Is it? Because I read a report the other day that said you've got more chance of getting into social housing if you arrive on a boat.
And then so you've got the hotels. Instead of, what they should be doing... And also, none of these people can arrive in hotels. There's 3,000 people who have arrived so far in the last 6 weeks, mostly 90% men. We can have that argument. It might be, some days it might be 85%, but mostly 95% men. How do we know who these people are? How do we know what they're doing? They get here, they abscond straight out of the system. They should be in detention rather than in hotels where they can come and go willy-nilly, working day in, day out, illegally. Why are they able to freely roam? That's if you just
step back, because people always give me the same answer, but if you think about that and you think about where we're at as a country, so much, as you quite rightly said, of our public services are creaking, but there seem to be so many loopholes, and deliberate exploitation of those loopholes seemingly gets easier on the day. Why is there not a concerted effort or a political feeling that we need to I'm going to say get our country back? I'm making it sound like Trump, but this is ridiculous. Well, we are screwing our own people over for people who are coming to our country.
Look at the political choices that were made at the spending review. What was it, last week? 10 days ago?
10 days ago. Very exciting.
3% increase for the NHS. Another, multi-billion-pound settlement for the health service, while they're literally cutting the Home Office budget.
Yeah.
We are watching, look at the pictures on the screen right now. We are watching a daily invasion of this country, and we're cutting the budgets of the very people that need to do it. And the Treasury is saying, well, we know you could squeeze the hotel bill. The way you squeeze the hotel bill is you get rid of people from hotels. How do you get rid of people from hotels? You let them roam the country, and they let them work illegally, and it's a vicious cycle. And at the same time as that, we're paying 100 billion, 125 billion this year just to service the interest on our debts.
Interest.
And we are in a doom loop. We are in a spiral of decline. And as we discussed the other week when we had old Simon Case, the old Cabinet Secretary, time is running out for someone to get a grip. And if this lot can't do it, then move aside for someone that can.
Is Nigel Farage the man to do it?
Well, I hope he is, because if he came in and then he can't do it, and then I really do worry about the future of this country, because the voters are crying out for change, the public is crying out for change. They've been offered change by the Tories, they failed. They've been offered change by Labour, they have failed. They're being offered change by Farage and Reform. They might just twist and give them a chance. If they fail, then it gets spicy.
I think it comes to a point where you talk about politicians. I keep saying on the show every day that I think the British people need to understand their voice is now to be heard. I'm not talking about unrest or anything like that, but I think the British people have actually got to a point where they're going, do you know what, I'm really sorry about this. We've been fair and reasonable and done the right thing, but we're screwed, we're suffering. We can't see a doctor or a dentist, or we can't get this and we can't get that, and charity begins at home. It takes, I think, somebody to say, and I hate the phrase, but somebody needs to put this country first. I genuinely believe that. And until that happens, until somebody, Harry, has the courage to take on the mainstream media and take on whatever is thrown at them legally, the Blob, the Home Office, hundreds of thousands of civil servants who apparently are all whatever, left of centre, the BBC, everybody, then it's not going to get any better.
Sure,
and we seem to be slow-walking to a sad death.
This is the manifesto of Jeremy Kyle, Prime Minister, right?
But you not agree with me?
You sound like you're a man to fix it.
I just don't understand why it is so difficult.
You could be the man in the arena.
Yeah, sure. You came in here and you said if you were the Home Secretary this morning, you would have made sure. And he said,
I would have kicked some doors in, yeah.
Yeah, at 6 o'clock this morning, battering rams through the doors. Fantastic. Front page of every newspaper. Send a goddamn message, man.
But why are they not, turn up there with some wire cutters and cut every single spoke on every single one of those bikes outside? And why are they not doing
because
that?
Presumably,
why are they not slashing the tyres of these bikes?
Because you and I are working today to pay tax for the left-wing human rights law, who would then say that what you've done to that man's bike has caused him severe anxiety and he can't leave this country because he goes back to his country with severe anxiety.
And this goes back to
and it's out. God, I want to swear, man. It does my head in. I don't even think it's
Human Rights Act. We come in here once, twice a week, don't I? And we always end up on the same arguments.
This is interesting.
We are absolutely handcuffed by regulation and law.
Absolutely. Afternoon, Dan here. A local restaurant near me has just been fined £180,000 for employing illegal workers. Why the hell aren't these food delivery companies being punished?
Well,
and why not right
start.
now?
Well, that's good. It's good to see that the immigration services have found one restaurant and managed to find it. Right. Now do their neighbours, now do the rest of the high street, and now do the rest of the high street in every other country, every other town in this country.
Do you know, when I was growing up, this has just completely come to my mind, and Jodie's going to look like Ryan. I remember a police sort of advert on the television when I was a sort of teenager about, basically grassing on your neighbour if you saw something, right?
Sort of the twitching neck curtains types.
Right. You can't do that, because if you say, sorry, there's migrants in a hotel next to my house and they're working for Deliveroo or any other delivery food company that might be involved in this, you'd probably be persecuted. You'd probably be told that you created an environment where that person is traumatised. I mean, I sit on this show, the reasons why people are allowed to stay here. You know, we talked about it the other week. If it carries on like this, I mean, what happened with Trump in the middle of the show yesterday? Starmer wasn't even told. We're a laughing stock, man. It's getting worse.
But why weren't, you know, food companies we may have mentioned by name already, but, you know, why weren't the big five, and you all know who they are, because you see their motorbikes zooping around your villages and towns and your
Zooping is my word of the afternoon. Zooping, ladies and gentlemen.
And your cities. We know who they are. Why weren't the CEOs of every single one of those companies hauled in this morning?
Yeah.
Said, what are you going to do about this? Everyone knows that, you know, the newspapers, the government have known about this long before we have. Why are they not saying, right, what are you doing about this? We're going to hold you personally responsible for this, sort it out within 3 weeks, or, you know, we start getting medieval on you.
It's very interesting. 0344 499 1000. What do you make of it? Small boat migrants getting jobs £1,000 a week to deliver food to you, probably. Yesterday, as I say, it was an extraordinary show, because in the middle of the show, about 4:20, World War III looked like it was about to start, and then by 7:10, everything was fine. And I did say, and I'd like your take on this, that I thought that war is a very strange beast. And I felt it was almost tokenism yesterday. We're going to let... this was my feeling. I mean, the Americans could have watched that with the surveillance.
It was
We're going to let you do that. We're going to thank you for the warning. Everybody's gone. Don't do anything. I sat here and thought, if one American gets hurt, then we're in trouble. It was almost... Then Trump's lost his cool today. He said, don't know what they're doing.
Turns out I've had hangovers that are longer than World War III. So.
Yeah, do you know what? Yes, I was sat here at 2 hours 50 minutes. It was all done.
There is clearly method to the madness. It has worked. Trump is annoyed. He's annoyed that, you know, he got agreement last night. Overnight, the ceasefire would happen. He makes a very valid point: is we can't say you could have a ceasefire, then you just fire off another, you know, a barrage. But look, every ceasefire in the Middle East in these situations takes a couple of goes to get it to set. Yep. It does look like it's calming down now. He's clearly annoyed. I've never heard a president swear like that on live television.
He used the F word. I don't know if everybody's seen it.
It was absolutely amazing.
These two don't know what they're doing.
And it was, you know, and this is a man who swears like a trooper in private by all accounts, but actually, you know, is quite courteous, even though...
A bit like you, isn't he? I mean,
exactly,
Harry Cole, potty mouth, ladies and gentlemen, potty mouth, not the posh boy.
Prepare the button you have to press when I do swear. But no, there's clearly frustration, but I suspect we are at an end game. And it's been astonishing. I mean, if we just step back to where we were 12 days ago, the Israelis and the Israelis to begin with filleted the Iranian regime. You know, they couldn't appoint generals quick enough before they're getting whacked again. And then the piece de resistance, on Saturday night with that strike on the with that singular precision, amazing strike. On the nuclear program. I mean, that's how you do these things. Yep. No boots.
38 hours those stealth bombers flew.
Yeah, it would have been 18 hours if they'd used Diego Garcia, a British base. But
hold on, now let's not slag off Starmer and the Chagos Islands, because, ladies and gentlemen, as we all know, people who listen to Drive will know that when we gave them 16 billion and the Chagos Islands, it allowed the Mauritian government 2 days later to not only pay off their national debt, but aren't you happy to know, ladies and gentlemen, this afternoon, that all Mauritians aren't paying any income tax for 12 months. What a load of old... Honestly, I just don't understand it. What message does that send to you people? I'm sorry you're all struggling under the highest tax burden of 70 years, but I'm giving 16 billion quid to the Mauritians and the Chagos Islands, and they're going to live like kings for the next 12 months. What is wrong with my...
It's only Tuesday. Are you going to make it to Thursday?
No, I don't
You're going to make it to Thursday at this rate. You're going to blow a gasket at this rate.
Yesterday, as well, in the midst of World War III, which only took 2.5 hours, we had this Palestinian extraordinary... Palestinian action.
Well, prescribe... everyone goes, they just sprayed a bit of paint on a plane. No, they didn't. They threw crowbars in the engine. They inflicted a massive amount of damage. These people are dangerous.
Sir Gerald Howarth came on. I don't know who it was straight away. He said, "That's not that. By the way, that's sabotage. That's a terrorist. You got to arrest them."
You've got a suspended Labour MP, Zara Sultana, this afternoon. Who? Zara Sultana, the raisin lady.
The raisin lady. Always raising a point. To the point, Zara Sultana always raising a question. Brilliant. Harry and I are on the money.
She's tweeted today.
It's all bad grapes, isn't it?
We're all sour grapes.
Thank you.
We are all Palestine Action. No, you're not. And I bet she won't be saying that next week when they're a prescribed organisation, which means that if you publicly support them, you can do time.
0344 499 1000. Ring us. Text us 87222. Start your message with the word talk. Backward criticism of the Home Office. You said quite rightly, with illegal migrants taking $1,000 a week in cash to ride these bikes, we should be down there this morning bashing
Slashing the tyres.
Well, I'll tell you something else. Can you explain to me why Mrs. Ball said yesterday, I'm going to prescribe them as a terrorist opera? Why don't you do it now? Why don't you do it right now? Why don't you stand up and say that Palestinian action, that was sabotage, that was terrorism, that we have 14 Voyager planes, 2 are out of action.
I know, exactly. And I don't know why this takes a week. It's a simple, straight up and down, vote in Parliament.
Soft.
I don't know why they delayed it.
And now this is interesting. Just 2 things about Starmer before you go. Starmer's heading to NATO summit. A lot of people criticised Donald Trump, and they did, over his approach to NATO when he got inaugurated, and he said, I'm not paying for all your defence. You can damn well increase your GDP
as Obama did before him. He just didn't say it in quite so vocal terms.
So Starmer heads NATO summit where he vows he will spend 5%. There's a lot of people think that he's conning Trump, it's smoke and mirrors. Sir Keir Starmer, I don't even like calling him Sir, Starmer, and you would know this as a political powerhouse, is in a really difficult position because that tent that he invited everybody into before he got elected is so wide. He's got 100 MPs threatening to block his welfare reforms.
I think it's about 120 now.
Right.
It's ticking up quickly.
He's got a part of the Labour Party will hate any support of America. Really? Oh yes, Zara Sultana has just posted a next. We are all Palestine action.
Yeah, I dare.
Who's we are all? Who? What? I'm not.
Well, she thinks the people are. Well, I dare to say that next week when they're prescribed because she'll be sad tears in the cell.
Is she a Labour MP?
She was suspended. She was one of the few ones that was suspended. They wouldn't let her back because she rabbits on like that.
She rabbits on like that. Is he in trouble genuinely, Starmer?
Look, this is really bad. Less than a year in.
I love the way you did that.
Less than a year in, it's 11 months in, and he's already facing the fact that he's got his 163-seat majority, and 120 of his own MPs are saying no. And this is a $5 billion cut to welfare. This is a salami slice off the top of the bill.
If he
can't even get this through without this rebellion, he can't even get through. Then there's absolutely no chance of him ever making any big economic reforms like the benefits. Markets will be again across from here. We'll be looking at that. Bond traders are going, well, if he can't get $5 billion off the bill, how's he going to get the $20 billion off the bill that we need to be a sustainable economy? Plus, going back to that debt interest, plus going into the fact that NHS spending is going to be half of national spending by the end of this decade. It's insane, and the bills are just ticking up. The debt is ticking up. The interest is ticking up, and this guy's powerless to do anything about it, and it puts him in a really difficult spot because he's bound in by his fiscal rules, Rachel Reeves' fiscal rules, that says they won't increase borrowing for day-to-day spending. They said they won't increase personal taxes in the manifesto. Yeah. One of those things has got to give. He rips up the borrowing rules, he loses his chancellor. He rips up the tax rules, he puts the tax even higher than they already are, which is already at the highest tax burdens in peacetime. And, that's a recipe for a one-term government I've ever seen it.
It's really interesting as well, isn't it, that if you promise too much to too many people, you will essentially end up on... I know you were joking and saying the Jeremy Carr manifesto. To me, it was really simple. I never understood this 22 billion black hole, whether it existed or not. But if I'm 22 billion in debt, I don't on day 3 spend 11 billion propping up my union mates.
And putting up 40...
Because that makes 33.
And a £40 billion tax rate.
And then I'm going to spend 16 giving away something that we've had forever. So that's 49. No wonder he's in the poo. I mean, I'm being completely... No. I don't understand the basic decision-making of this government.
Trying to be too many things, too many people, promising too much. And my worry is that Nigel Farage is falling into a similar trap at the moment.
Do you? I want to talk about
this. I just thought there was absolutely... He's announcing all these... Basically, Nigel Farage is in a really unique point that he was driving the Tories and Labour round the bend because they couldn't land a glove on him. They couldn't pin him down in any way. They couldn't bring... But he keeps announcing slightly madcap, back-of-the-fag packet policies that aren't as thought through as they should be before you announce them, and it's giving Labour and the Tories an in able to pick him apart a little bit, when actually he doesn't need to be repeating the mistakes of the previous
he should be doing exactly what Starmer did, saying nothing.
Sitting above it. Starmer did eventually bind himself in too tightly on various taxes. He says he wouldn't do it, and various rules and fiscal rules, and essentially put himself in a straitjacket, which is now coming home to roost, because this is why he's ending up letting down people. If you actually say, look, I'm not I'm not the leader of the opposition. I'm going to do my Nigel Farage impression now. I'm not the leader of the opposition. I'm not the Prime Minister. I will point out the problems, but it's not, you know, we're 3 years out of election. We don't need to start...
Four?
Well, maybe.
Yeah. Look
at those growth predictions for the back end of this decade.
Before you skedaddle off,
I think they're going to struggle to get to 29.
Before you skedaddle off to sunnier climes, you know I'm 60 on Monday week.
Are you really?
Yeah.
You don't look a day over
58. You're a very kind man. What do you think? Do you think Starmer is going to lead this country for the next however many years, or do you think he's genuinely in trouble? What's your gut political instinct, Harry?
I think he will fight the next election, but then all bets are off.
Very interesting. Always great to have you on. I really, really appreciate it. Any winners at Royal Ascot?
A couple. I don't like the flats though. It's too quick. It's all over. Boring,
isn't it?
6 furlongs. You can't. How are you meant to bet like this? You're blinking. You miss it.
It's a business.
Bring back the drum. Bring out the jumps.
Cheltenham, the Festival of Kings. That's what you want to do. Good man. 4:24. We're live across the UK.